Hello and welcome to another marvelous video. I'm your host Will. As we near the end of Amazon Prime's The Boys series, we have to ask a simple question. Did Homelander win? Well, as far as we've seen, maybe. And in this video, we're gonna go over the facts that prove that Homelander won, if only for a short time. Let's get to it.
If you've read a single page of Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson's The Boys, you know that Eric Kripke's adaptation of their work has strayed far away from the source material. A lot has changed from comic to screen, including several members of the Seven, but the biggest change might be yet to come. Or rather, should we say that it has gone unnoticed, because in Ennis and Robertson's The Boys, it was Homelander's goal to overthrow the government and be free of Vought. But the show, well, you know what the show has done. And if you don't, we're here to rectify that grievous error. So, without further ado, let's take a look at whether Amazon's The Boys is about to go off comics and let Homelander win, at least temporarily. How Homelander lost in the comics. Everything we'll be talking about in this section is a spoiler, so proceed as you will. But in the comics, Homelander wasn't nearly as insecure as he is in the show. He didn't have mommy issues, he wasn't obsessed with breast milk or impressing his latest father figure, including his literal father. He just wanted to do what Vought refused to do overtly, and that's take over the world as the true inheritor of its mantle. In the comics, Homelander went on a secret war with his bosses and plotted to overthrow the US government without their knowledge. Well, we say without their knowledge, but Vought being Vought, it always knew what his plans were. The company simply didn't chide him or rein him in as much as the show does, and that was their biggest mistake. In the comics, Victoria Newman's original counterpart, Vic the Veep, ends up becoming president of the United States after James Stillwell's associates managed to manipulate events in such a way that President Dakota Bob meets an untimely end to his life. Enraged by the wheeling and dealing, both political and personal, considering Vought was thoroughly involved in the Seven standoffs with the boys in the books, and thinking that he was going through blackouts that left him half mad, Homelander decided enough was enough. He confronted James Stillwell right before he put his coup plan into motion, commented on what a stone-cold bastard he was for not feeling a single ounce of fear in the presence of the strongest man in the world, and proceeded to take out the White House's inhabitants in a display of strength that the world would not soon forget. Homelander flooded the Capitol with soups that were directly loyal to him, entered Victor Newman's Oval Office, and didn't just kill him. He skull-effed him after killing him and tossed the freshly drilled cranium at Billy Butcher when he arrived to discuss terms with the soup. Homelander wasn't even in office for half a day before his life fell apart in front of his eyes, as Black Noir revealed that he, not Homelander, had committed all the crimes that had been attributed to the latter. In the comics, Noir was a clone of Homelander who'd gone insane because he'd been created with the sole purpose of killing the man should he ever step out of line, and he never got the kill order. So, he created the order himself by committing the foundational crime of the boys, assaulting Becca Butcher, and went on rampages where he ate little children to implicate Homelander. That was what led to Homelander's mental breakdown, takeover of the White House, and demise. For once Noir revealed his true colors, he had no further use of his original. He killed him right in front of Butcher's eyes, and then proceeded to fight him as well, before a nuclear bomb was dropped on America's most important building, and Noir was reduced to a shell of his former self. Butcher plied his brains open with a crowbar, and that was the end of Homelander and his clones' plans to, quote, take over the world from both humans and Vought America, end quote. They failed to do both in any sort of meaningful way, and died meaningless deaths unless you consider being killed for revenge meaningful. And that was the penultimate chapter of The Boys. The ultimate chapter followed the death of Billy Butcher himself, but that's best saved for another video. Now, contrast this with what happens in the show, and you'll realize that, in many ways, Homelander already won.
Soldier Boy is the President, Vice President of the United States of America. They work.
Why Homelander has already won in the show. In the show, Homelander doesn't take the anti-Vought route. He doesn't have a clone that is slowly driving him crazy. He is crazy, and his path sees him becomes Vought itself. he starts by getting rid of all the opposition to his authority, like Stan Edgar, and gains leverage on key political rivals, like Victoria Newman. Slowly but surely, he gets his foot deeper into the quicksand of American politics, and where comic Homelander had to break into the White House with a soup army to assert his dominance, show Homelander doesn't. Instead, he uses his hard-line, far-right rebrand to mobilize a base of red state supporters. And while he does get Dakota Bob killed, he doesn't need to do anything to Victoria Newman to ensure he gets the right man into the Oval Office. Even if Vicky hadn't died at Butcher's hands or been evacuated by the boys, she would have had to play ball with Homelander because she'd affiliated herself with his political worshippers. In fact, her death only served to seal Homelander's victory, because with her out of the way, he got his cronies Calhoun and Ashley Barrett into the White House. The ending of Season 4 saw President Calhoun, raised up from the position of the Senate Speaker, declare martial law throughout the United States and hand over the reins of the military and Homeland Security to Homelander and his soups. And Season 5 began with the United States being dotted all over by freedom camps, aka concentration camps with the new Vox propagandist paint slapped over it. This is already way more power than original Homelander ever wielded, and the fact that show Homelander was ordering the President of the United States to fetch a milk and Vought tower is the ultimate display of strength. If getting into government and filling it with soups and humans that were completely loyal to him was his win condition, then Homelander won even before Season 5 came out. But that wasn't enough. Throughout Season 5, we've seen him get his way at every single turn. He sent his soups into the streets of America to detain Starlighters en masse. He got his hand on V1, the only formula that can counteract the effects of the soup-killing virus, which he wouldn't have been immune to otherwise. He wanted to be cast in the image of God, replacing the big man himself, and he's been able to establish the Democratic Church of America as a vehicle for it. In fact, Homelander's godhood is the main focus of Season 5, and if that's the main focus, then by every observable metric, he's winning. He has full control of Vaught's resources, which allows him to make Homeland. He has a chokehold on the government, going so far as to kill Calhoun and make Ashley the president because he knows she'll bend to his will. He even issues executive orders from the president's desk despite not being president, and those orders, if put into effect in the series finale, will prove what we've already been talking about, that in essence, Homelander's already won. He just doesn't know when to stop or how to give up. In episode 7, he declared his intent to make the Democratic Church of America, which will soon rebrand him as God on Earth, as the official state religion of the United States, and he also told Ashley and Calhoun to send troops into sanctuary states that were protecting Starlighters. He's turning the D in democracy into as irrelevant of a word as it is in North Korea's official name. And the thing is, Calhoun died because he wasn't going to budge on Homelander's most eye-opening demand. Homelander wanted his pet politicians to dissolve Congress, and that's when he realized Calhoun was afraid of him. So he killed him, and now Ashley is president, and it looks like she'll let things get worse before they get better. Episode 7 burned the bridge between her and her more moral backside, which means that we can expect Episode 8 to begin with those sanctuary states being invaded by troops, much like 2025 and 2026 for that matter. Homelander's unveiling as the new god has already been set up. 6 out of 30 test audience members of the Democratic Church truly think he's their new lord and savior, and to him, that's enough. When Episode 8 begins, we expect Homelander to get everything he wants, and the only failure here will be the fact that will still not be enough for him. But if we zoom out and take a look at how he compares to his comic book counterpart, it doesn't matter whether his victory is temporary or permanent, because he has won. He did all that he set out to do, and then some, and it's his chronic need for love and approval that will make him think it's not enough. But the facts remain solid, and the final episode will just be putting the last nail in the coffin that we've been beating for the past few minutes. To put it simply, yes, the show is about to go off comics and let Homelander win before making him lose. But we hope you enjoyed listening to why that's the case and how this makes him the neediest baby on planet Earth or anywhere else for that matter. But these are just our thoughts in the end. Let us know yours in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more boys content before the show ends. We'll see you guys real soon with yet another video. So until then, stay safe and as always, have a great day.